Welcome back to Briggs on Books, our truly international talk show where we talk to authors from all over the world. Not just authors, but publishers, editors, book cover designers. We have so many viewers that are almost ready to be published. They're just having trouble getting across the finish line. So we like to present people who've done it, who've actually written a book, got it published, got it out there. In fact, our next author has done it not once, not twice, but so many times I can't count. I was just trying to count his book covers. Welcome, author Keith Landry. Welcome, Keith.
Thank you.
What is the total, by the way?
Pardon?
What is the total, by the way?
21.
21 books.
In 4 years.
4 years. Oh, my goodness.
I started at age 70.
70. Now, where are you located right now, Keith?
I'm in Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada.
Oh, I see.
And it's just above the borders where Montana meets North Dakota. We're about 150 miles north of the border.
Now, I'm doing a bunch of clicking here on all these book covers to find the most recent one. Here it is, Shadows of Melfort. Tell us a little bit about that, Keith.
Well, Shadows of Melfort is a story about a young fellow that ended up in the Buchenwald concentration camp in Germany in the Second World War. And while he's there, he befriends two Canadian captains, intelligence officers that were captured in France, working with the underground. And this Gestapo colonel interrogates them and beats them to death eventually, or hangs them actually from a meat hook. And the two intelligence officers are real. The boy that meets them, he's only 17 when he goes to Buchenwald, is from Jersey Island, England, and he's real. But around these three real people, I weave a story that has him having promised the two intelligence officers that he would bring the Gestapo colonel to justice. And then the story takes place where all of them end up in Canada. And this young fellow becomes a Royal Canadian Mounted Policeman, retires and realizes he hasn't fulfilled his promise. So he starts searching out this Gestapo colonel. And he finds him in this northern Saskatchewan community called Melfort. And then the book's about whether he wants justice or retribution. And you don't find that out until the end.
Till the end, yeah. Sounds like you had to do a lot of research on that one.
All my books. My foundation to everything I do is I have an unbelievable memory that takes me back to things years and years ago. And I started when I was age 70 researching them on old newspapers. And I built stories around what I research. And they're all historically true. And but the characters and so on are fictional, and the stories become an adventure as opposed to just a straight historical context.
Now, I'm going to pop up some of your book covers here because I see kind of a theme going, like Unforeseen Saskatchewan.
That's a little different one. Unforeseen Saskatchewan is a book that has, it's a futuristic book that I created completely out of my mind.
Wow.
I'm out of my mind, but I created it out of my mind.
Murder Tales in the Ottawa Valley. These all seem to have Canadian themes, Keith.
They're all Canadian. I'm a Canadian writer, and my success has been writing for older people, 50 plus, and doing, again, my research. The Murder Tales in the Ottawa Valley and the Murder Tales from the Archives, those are all just a recount of what took place. There's no fiction in those. Those are true.
Wow.
So there's 4 or 5 like catastrophes in Canada. And those books are all true stories.
Yeah. Again, then you are a researcher, I would imagine.
I did a lot of research in my job. I did a lot of writing in my job, and I've taken that forward to make it a hobby.
Yeah. By the way, I see your email address, keithlandy.com, on one of the slides you sent us with stacks and stacks of books you've written. Now you.
Oh yeah, I don't have a website anymore.
Okay.
I didn't find it that beneficial.
Yeah.
Amazon does everything for me.
They do, yeah. I went to that Amazon site. Very impressive, by the way. Now you said, I don't know if you could give away your secret, but you said maybe you have a little formula that you use.
Well, I have a formula, and I think I've mentioned most of it, with the foundation of my memory and the research, and then weaving a story around historical stories. And I've added a couple of things in the last that new readers may be interested in. I used to spend a lot of time on editing, but now I use AI.
Okay.
Okay, and AI edits for me. I don't let AI write my books because AI screws it up, you know, when you're trying to get your point across, but it's sure a good editor. And I also use AI to do my book covers. So I will put in what I'm looking for, and I'll keep experimenting until something comes up that I figure fits the book just perfectly. Or, well, it's never perfectly, but as good as it gets.
That's amazing, because your book covers are what draws me in. That's what drew us in to ask you to be on the show. There's these amazing book covers.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'll tell you, between the book covers, I think they're pretty damn good, too.
Yeah. Now, there's one about a bank clerk, the whole bank clerk, 1935.
The bank clerk is I have a character on 8 of my stories, 8 of the 21, and he is Sergeant Detective Dalpy, okay, J.P. Dalpy. And I'm just going to go quickly over this, but the origin of my very first book was that when my grandfather was an older man, near death, he had dementia. And my grandfather was a high constable in an area in Quebec, Canada. And he was the first on the scene and was one of the main investigators of what was called the Alamo Island Massacre. It's a person by the name of Michael Bradley that murdered his whole family, a very big family. So anyways, he told me, well, he got a moment out of his dementia when I was only 10 years old, he told me the story. And I started my writing from there, okay? And that's my biggest sell. It always will be. It's just, it does phenomenal sales in the area that it's from.
Was that the Alamo Massacre?
Yeah.
Alamo, how do you say it? Canadian. You guys say Alamo Island Massacre. I got the cover up on the screen, so that's the big one. Maybe I'll start with that one. In fact, you give me a lot of work to do if I'm going to read all your books, Keith. But I'm a reader. I love to read. I love history, so that's also very attractive that you have that historical element in all of your books. Apparently. I guess we would send the viewers, if they want to read author Keith Landry, we'd send them to Amazon. Is that a good place to start, or are there other places?
That's the place to start.
That's a place to start.
I don't have any outlets. I really have not tried to break the American market.
Yeah.
I would love to, but, if there are any publishers out there or any bookstores want my books to sell, please contact me. Yeah. But I do in the Ontario and Quebec area, I have a few stores that sell. And I do really well at those stores. But boy, as a self-publisher, it's sure hard to get your books out on the market. That's the hard part.
Yes. Well, I like the whole Canadian theme. As an American and, below Canada, I'm always fascinated by this great place that exists right north of our border, and we hardly know anything about it. So that's very intriguing about your books as well. That's going to draw me in.
Good.
Well, Keith, we're up against time. I could talk to you all day about this because you're so fascinated in your approach and how many books you could write in that short a period. Is there anything else you want our viewers to know about you or your books?
Well, just that, as I mentioned to you, the marketing is a very, very difficult part, and I have primarily used social media.
Yeah.
And again, if there's anybody, a publisher or any bookstore that wants my book, I'll get them to them. So
there you go.
And I don't know if I gave you my email address, but I can be contacted on Facebook anytime. So
yeah.
But this is great. I sure appreciate it.
All right, Keith. Well, I'm just inspired by you. Just giving me some ideas because I've got my one book that I'm so close to finishing, but it's been 4, 5, 6 years, and maybe just that AI editing might help me out a little bit.
Yeah.
Might move it along.
I think one thing the readers have told me, and I'm in contact with them quite a bit, people around here. And they tell me that I have a good beginning to end. I don't very often, I don't get wound up in other stories in the book.
Yeah.
I stick to, and my reads are easy, and they are always in large print because my audience has been the 50-plus group.
Yeah. I tell you, that's the plus for me because sometimes I just stop reading. I just can't see it anymore. So it's hard to get to. In fact, I've switched a lot to these audio books because I can't see the regular books. But large print, I'm in. You sold me, Keith. Thank you so much. And I'd like to have you back again and again because you're a fascinating person. And
well, thank you. I would love to come back.
Yeah, it's somebody who's done what the rest of us dream of doing. So thank you, Keith. And for our viewers, stick around. We'll be back with more Briggs on Books right after this.
Thank you very much.